Hello, my friends. Thank you so much for coming to this second of our beginner series videos. It's beginners or back to basics. I'm going to go through and take apart poses so that you feel like you're confident and you know that you're doing them to the best of your ability so that your muscles and your bones are appropriately wrapping around each pose. Today we're going to focus on the vinyasa, on the actual flow part of the practice. So I'm going to break that down for us and please enjoy. Let's get started. Okay, so to begin, we're just going to do a couple cat and cow tilts, and the intention there is to help our spine release a little bit of the tension so we can move with a little more fluidity. So come on to all fours. If this bothers your knees at all, grab a blanket or roll up the back of your yoga mat so that you can place your knees on it. Spread your fingers wide so that your finger bones move away from one another. Pull your abdomen in. So that's really important. Throughout your practice, your abdomen, you want to have it engaged about 30%. That's to protect your low back. So that's a really important thing to keep in mind. And in addition to that, it begins to tone your abdominal core. So that's kind of cool. All right, take a look at your wrist creases and see that they're parallel to the top of your mat and that your knees are directly below your hips. With your core engaged, and you're going to release it a little bit as you lift your head and your tailbone. So your spine is moving into the cow position, but you don't want to swing your head all the way back. We have a lot of mobility in the cervical spine and in the lumbar spine. So you really want to have this in the middle spine. Drop your shoulder blades down, lift your head up to some degree. You'll feel that you'll have to release a little bit of the abdominal contraction, and then exhale, round your spine. Keep exhaling through your nose and press your spinal bits, the vertebrae, up towards the ceiling. And that's your classic cat-cow. Now, we're going to make it even more powerful for us. Ready? So we're going to inhale. You'll do the same thing. Drop your shoulder blades in, but pull your chest forward a little bit as if you're moving it through your arms. And then exhale, round your spine. Exhale, exhale, core deeply engages, and pull your hips back halfway to child's pose. Inhale, come forward again. Exhale, round your spine and move your hips back towards your heels. Let's go, two more. Inhale, you're moving your entire vertebrae through its range of motion. Exhale, you drop your head, you lift through the core, bend your hips back. And one last time. Inhale, reach, extend. And exhale, flexing your spine up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to widen our knees and move back into child's pose. You can take child's pose at any time. Listen though, if you're in child's pose and your knees are like, what is going on today? You want to take a blanket, roll it up, and stick it underneath the backs of your knees. Or you can even just lift your hips up a little bit. Forehead doesn't reach the floor, that's okay. You can grab a block or a book and put it underneath your forehead. So you do want to feel like there's support in your forehead. This just feels so good. So key into the parts of the practice that make you feel like, yeah, I am doing something pretty awesome for myself, because you are. And then we'll soften at both elbows, bend both elbows slightly out to the sides, and then just turn and look under your left armpit. Core stays engaged, and then come back through center. Look under your right armpit. Come back through center one more time. Each side, just releasing the sides of the neck. Good, you guys. And then let's pull it back up into downward facing dog. So roll over your toes, and now you're in a downward dog. Your finger bones, they move away just like they did when we were in our tabletop position. Take a look at your feet and see that your feet are separated. They should be hip width. They could be a little wider than hip width, but you don't want to have them more narrow than hip width. You can turn your heels slightly out to the sides and bend your knees. So keeping your knees bent, especially in the beginning, is really just kindness to your body. If you feel like you've got more mobility in your hamstrings, you can lengthen one leg out at a time and feel the stretch through the back of your legs, your hamstrings, calves, even the muscles that feed into the Achilles tendon. So bend and stretch up and over to the other side, and then come up onto the heels of your feet, or to the balls of your feet. You're lifting your heels. Send your hips high, and then bend your knees deeply. Keep yourself on the balls of the feet. Press down through the base of your knuckles. Take a full breath in through your nose. Exhale through your nose. Look up to the top of your mat and walk yourself up there. Keep your feet separated hip width distance. Hands can be on shins here or thighs, and you can have a little bend in your knees. Peel back through your shoulders, so as if your collarbones were widening out to the sides of the room. Breath in, breath out, stay here, send your sitting bones back. One more breath, inhale, and exhale, forward fold, dropping it down. Shake your head side to side. You may absolutely keep a bend in your knees here. And you can play with it. If you straighten your legs and you feel like, ooh, there's pulling on my low back, don't pull. Bend your knees and offer yourself a gentle opportunity to release and let go. One more breath, inhale. And exhale it out. Now, we're going to step down into a high plank. So chaturanga, we're going into, you step your left foot back, hands are on the mat. So you're in a little lunge with the right foot. And then go ahead and step the right foot back. Drop both knees to the mat. This is how you modify your high plank. Roll over your toes if you don't want to modify. You want your body to be in a plank-like shape. So you shouldn't have like sagging in your low back or lifting it up. You want to think about as if you're sort of compact in the center, is how one of my teachers, Natasha, would call it. Press through the heels, top of your head reaches forward, lift up through the thighs, broaden through the shoulder blades as if they're moving out to the sides. One more breath here, inhale, and then exhale. We're only going to lower halfway down. So you want to lower so your elbows and your shoulders are at the same height. Big breath in, and then let's just lower down all the way to the floor so we can look over that again. It's a really important thing that often gets overlooked in a typical yoga class because people move too fast. Too fast, in my opinion. So if you have two blocks, you can set them up so that they're next to you and you will use them as where you want your shoulders to go. Some people like to actually put their shoulders on the top of the block. I don't love that. That feels crummy to my body, but you can use them as a guidepost. So we're gonna use your core, pull up into tabletop. Okay? And then roll back so you're into high plank. Walk your hands up so you're closer to the blocks. High plank, ready, low plank. We're just lowering halfway down. You're on the balls of the feet. Good. And then from here, you drop one toe and then the other, so you're on the tops of the feet, and you keep your thighs on the floor. So you're coming into a cobra-esque upward dog. Thighs on the floor, peel back through the shoulders, and then lower all the way down to the mat. So we're gonna go over that one more time. Use your blocks as you like. I'm gonna move them out of the way so that you can see me if you need to. Come back up into tabletop. Roll over those toes, downward facing dog. Big breath in. Long breath out, pull your spine deep, put your navel deeply into your spine. High plank, low plank, just halfway down. Right shoulders do not go lower than your elbows. Then press your toes back so you're on the tops of your feet and peel your shoulders up and open. If this feels compressive in your low back, like you feel it's jamming, lean forward a little bit more. Or come all the way down and do a bona fide cobra where you're squeezing your elbows together and you just pick up the chest. Keep your thighs and your pelvis on the floor. If that's too much, come into Sphinx Pose. Belly of the forearm on the floor, finger bones move away from one another, and you're peeling open through the chest in this regard. So you can see these are little back bends. So it goes downward dog, high plank, low plank, upward dog, cobra, or Sphinx, back bend, and then we're going to move it back to a downward facing dog. So from here, so we're going to pull it up into the upward dog. We're going to keep the thighs on the floor to begin, and then roll over your toes. You can go back through tabletop, downward facing dog. Big breath in, long breath out. Inhale here. Exhale, pull your navel into your spine. Find a drishti. This is Sanskrit for a soft place to place your eyes. Something not moving. So in between your feet is a good place. One more breath. Inhale. Exhale, hips back. Bend your knees. Look up to the top of your mat. Step. This time use the other foot to come forward. And now your feet are about hip width distance. Hands on your shins or thighs. Peel it back. Halfway lift. This is Arda Uttanasana. That's the Sanskrit. Just in case you show up in a class and the person's using Sanskrit, you're like, oh yeah, that's what that is. It's a halfway lift. And it's a halfway to forward fold. So the weight is forward into your feet. And now we're going to go all the way down to a forward fold. And the weight comes forward into the balls of the feet. Bend the knees. Big breath in through the nose. Long breath out through the nose. Core is deeply engaged. Sweep all the way up to standing. Utthita Hastasana. Lift your arms up overhead. Maybe you look up. And then forward fold, swan dive, arms out. Lead with your pinky fingers all the way down. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, high plank. Low plank. Remember, shoulders at elbow height. Turn your feet back. You're on the tops of your feet. Upward dog or cobra or sphinx. Then roll over your toes. Lift your core, downward facing dog. That is your vinyasa. Take a big breath here. And a long breath out. So you want to feel your spine lengthening, sitting bones reaching to the ceiling, head is soft, neck is loose and happy. Give me one more breath here. Bend your knees deeply. Come on up to the top of the mat. Halfway lift. Inhale. Shoulders peel back. Exhale. Forward fold. Surya Namaskar A. Inhale. Reach all the way up to the ceiling. Utthita Hastasana. Core stays engaged. Forward fold. Weight into the front of your feet. Drop your head. Inhale. Halfway lift. Long spine. Exhale. High plank. Low plank. Good. Press your toes back. Lift your heart. Upward dog or cobra or sphinx. Good. Roll over those toes. Downward facing dog. Take 5 breaths here. Inhale. Exhale. Spin your triceps towards the back of your heels and your biceps up towards your ears. Let your neck be free. Wipe any tension from your brow. Take a full breath in and a long breath out. Last big breath here. Inhale. And exhale, bend both knees, come all the way up to the top of the mat. Halfway lift, inhale, long spine. Exhale, forward fold. Full breath in. Long breath out. Soft knees, come all the way up to standing. Join your hands at your heart. And thank you so much for being on this journey with me. I really appreciate and am honored that you're practicing with me. Have an awesome day.